Hello friends, I'm glad to see you on my channel. This time we have a very interesting topic for the video. Today I would like to earn $10,000. To do this, I'll be using a deposit of $100. And my trading skills, I'll also need the pocket option broker for this. By the way, I'll leave a link to it in the description. You'll also find a link to my Telegram channel in the description. So let's take a look at what we have. I'll be using a 1 minute or 15-second time frame. That depends on my own discretion. Next, I'll also use a 15-second time frame on the chart. The expiration time will be the same. I'll be trading with all the money. So if we have $100, that means my bet will be $100. I'm also using two indicators. The first is the RSI and the second is the MACD. These are my two favorite fundamental indicators. Alright, let's get started. Let's move on to the first currency pair and the first trade. In this case, I'll be trading a currency pair, the British pound against the Canadian dollar. Here, I'll enter a buy position. And while we wait for the expiration time, let me explain my decision. First of all, we can see that the RSI line is below the 50 mark. We can also see that the MACD line is crossing the signal line. And this movement is happening from the bottom up. That's why I entered the trade in this case. Also, friends, pay attention. There is a very strong level here. Here it is, you can see it clearly even with the naked eye. So in this situation, I'm expecting at least a local pullback from this level. Let's see how our trade turns out. Also, notice friends, I don't enter trades where the payout is low. That is, at a minimum, I look for trades where the payout is 85-90. Sorry, I mean 85-90% of the invested amount. Great, this trade is profitable for us. And let's move on to the next trade. Now on our screen we have the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. Here, I'll go for a sell. Let me remind you, we're trading with the entire amount. Just like that, 85-83. And while we wait for the expiration, let me explain my decision. First of all, here we see a very strong level that we couldn't break through before. The price bounced down from it. So in this case, I'm also expecting a move downward. And we can also see that the RSI is showing us a strong overbought condition. The MACD line is about to cross the signal line from above. So I think we should take this trade. Let's see what happens. Of course, I could be wrong. Let's see how it turns out. In any case, it's an interesting experiment. There's just a little time left until expiration, and we'll have our result. Just 5 seconds left. Excellent. We now have $312 in our account. Let's move on to the next trade. Now I'll pick the next currency pair. Well friends, let's continue. In this case, I'll go for a buy. Sorry, I accidentally didn't enter with the full amount. But that's okay. We'll fix that right now. It turned out to be 5 trades. That was my mistake. Let's take a look. That's how it happened. We've doubled our amount. Well, almost doubled. Now we have $600 in the account. Let's move on to the next trade. Honestly, because our expiration time was so short, I didn't even have time to explain. No worries. Let's keep going. So, let's move on to the 5th trade. I started using a short expiration time, so as not to drag out this video. Here, I'll go in with the entire amount. $5,999. So I'm going to enter a sell position. Expiration 15 seconds. A very quick trade. Let's watch. Let's see how it closes. Excellent. It closes in profit. I'm doing this because I see a clear resistance level. I can see it clearly. I bounced off the upper boundary. Also, the signal line is crossing. from top to bottom. At this point, you already understand my logic. So let's move on to the next trade. A trade on the euro to British pound. Here, I'll take a sell position, a 15-second sell. I see a clear resistance level. I can see it clearly. The 70 boundary is approaching, indicating that the instrument is overbought. That's why I entered a sell here. Excellent. We already have $2,200 in the account. And let's move on to the next trade. I'll pick it now. Friends, here's our next trade. ADCNY, the RSI is near the 30 zone. The signal line is crossing the red line from below upwards. In this case, I see a strong oversold condition. And I'll go all in on a buy. Expiration time is 15 seconds. Everything happens very quickly. Let's watch. Let's see how our trade closes. What will come out of it? Excellent. We already have $42,020 in the account. That was our 9th trade. And let me pick the next trade. And let's trade. Again, friends, here's our next trade. The risks are already very high. We see the British pound currency pair against the Australian dollar. The RSI is hovering near the upper boundary, which indicates overbought conditions. Also, we can see a green histogram, which is increasing. So in this case, here's what I think. First, let's trade with $3,000. And let's go for a sell. We have a trade. Expiration is 15 seconds. About $3,000. Sell. Let's see how this turns out. Let me remind you, friends, this is our 10th trade. And we are very close to our goal. Excellent. We already have $7,000 in the account. And let's move on to the next trade. The 11th trade. Australian dollar QSD. Here I'll go for a sell. I'm entering a position for a decline. The RSI is showing overbought conditions. The MACD line. The histogram is red. Also, the signal line is about to cross the red line from above. That's why I entered here into this kind of trade. Awesome, friends. We now have almost $9,640 in the account. Let me remind you, we started with $100, but our goal was $10,000. We fell just a little short of it. And let's probably secure it with one more trade as a final check. Euro to British pound. Extremely oversold. And here it goes. A rebound. I'll enter before it's too late. The RSI is starting to bounce off the lower boundary. The green signal line is about to cross the red one. We also see a greening on the histogram. And here we see a strong rebound from the level. That's why I'm entering a buy here. And friends, hooray. It all worked out. I think we've successfully finished this marathon for today. It probably took no more than 15 seconds. Of course, it was risky. But skill prevails. I hope you agree with me. Let me remind you, we started with an amount of $100. Now we have $12,500 in our account. And we managed to achieve all this probably in no more than 15 minutes. Now let me make a withdrawal in front of you so you don't think this is some kind of demo money and that I'm trading and somehow trying to deceive you. This is real money. Let's take a look. I always use Tether for transactions. TRC20. I'll withdraw the entire amount here, 12,500, and now I'm opening my cryptocurrency wallet. I need to continue here. Great. The payment has been sent and it will be credited to my account, as you can see here. The money has been sent and it will reach my account pretty quickly. Pocket option is very convenient in this regard. By the way, I'll leave the link in the description. I think marathon with you has been successfully completed. Thank you for watching. I'll also leave a link to my Telegram channel in the description. There you'll find interesting free signals, indicator settings, and much more. Friends, please check it out. Goodbye everyone.